Somebody look at your neighbor and say, she finna bring it tonight. I say somebody look at your neighbor and say, she finna bring it tonight. And if you ain't got a neighbor, look at yourself and say, she finna bring it to fuck a night. Oh, we gonna jump right into it, cause that's how we do it over here. Little Richard was born on December 5th, 1932 in Macon, Georgia. Shout out to my people in Macon, Georgia. Little Richard was the third of 12 kids. Little Richard was raised by his mother and his father. His father was a deacon of the church. Y'all know how it is. Father, deacon of the church. But on the side, he was doing other things. And that's all right. His father used to sell moonshine on the side. Y'all know what moonshine is. And he also owned a nightclub called the Tip-In. Now, the Tip-In was a club that his daddy owned. And this place was known as being a place where all the niggas, they would go to chill out. And y'all stop being sensitive when somebody say the word nigga. All the niggas would go to chill out. And the Tip-In was a place where they went to have some fun. Little Richard's mama would take up for him all the time. People would say, dang, you take up for him all the time. But his mama used to take up for him all the time because he had a birth defect. When little Richard was born, one leg was bigger than the other. Little Richard's father, he was not as loving to Richard as his mother was. Little Richard's daddy, listen to me tonight. Little Richard's daddy, he didn't like the fact that little Richard was gay. He didn't like the fact that little Richard used to act feminine. He didn't like that. Little Richard used to take his mama's curtains, used to take his mama's curtains and wrap them around his body. And he used to walk around his house, his daddy would be looking at him, and little Richard used to walk around his house and call himself the Magnificent One. So his daddy, he said, you know what, I'm tired of this, this feminine shit. I got to do something about it. Little Richard say, my daddy tried to beat the gayness out of me, but he could not help the way that he acted. It ain't no way that you can beat a feeling out of somebody. You cannot help who you are attracted to. You cannot help who you fall in love with. So if you got kids and you notice that they have feminine tendencies, if they are a male child, you got to accept it for what it is. Because you ain't going to be able to beat that child and make them straight. Catch that. I almost said something. When little Richard was a little younger, he used to love to play tricks on people. Now y'all know so madam, honey. So Maddie, honey. I like to play tricks on people, but it ain't never no tricks that will hurt somebody, and it ain't never no nasty trick. Now, one thing about little Richard's tricks, they was a little bizarre and nasty. I'm like, the fuck was wrong with him? So when little Richard was a little younger, he used to love to play tricks on people. The older people who treated him good, he used to give them good gifts. And they used to be like, oh, shit, here come little Richard. He about to hook us up with a nice, pretty-ass scarf or give us something beautiful. Y'all know feminine males know how to give good gifts. I have feminine male friends, and I call them my fairies, my fairies. And they know how to give the most beautifulest, gifts. They know how to do that. So it was an elderly lady. It was an elderly lady named Miss Ola. And Miss Ola, she used to be real mean to little Richard. You know how the mean older woman is? She used to be real mean to him. So let me tell you what he did. So he took a shitter in a box. He took a bowel movement in a box, and he wrapped it up and put a little bow on it. And he gave this present to Miss Ola. And she was happy as hell. She said, shit, little Richard done bought me a gift. I'm next. Here go mine. So she thought she was going to get something real pretty. So he wrapped this shit up and gave it to her. So Miss Ola, she said, fuck that shit. I want to take it to my other elderly friends And you know, I want to show him what Little Richard done got me. So Miss Ola, she took the box home so she can open it in front of her elderly friends. Little Richard was watching everything from outside. Okay, he was outside looking in. Miss Ola opened the box and she seen this bowel movement that Little Richard done put in the box. And Miss Ola starts screaming and crying, going the fuck off. Miss Ola said, Little Richard, when I see you, I'm gonna beat your ass. Little Richard, he had a thing with pranking people with his bowel movements. Little Richard say he even fed diarrhea droppings to his mama. If I was his mama, I would have tapped that fucker ass. I would have had to do that. That's nasty. He even fed diarrhea droppings to his mama. He said shit, when his sisters and brothers used to get on his nerves, he used to put it in a jelly jar for his brothers and sisters to eat whenever they done fucked with him. And you know what he called it? Mother's preservatives. Huh? Catch that on flick, you little nasty fucker, you. Little Richard starts singing in church. You know, every time we sing, we notice our singing ability in church. And you know, so madam, I grew up in the church, Kojic, Church of God in Christ. So, you know, I know all about that shit. You know, they start giving me these songs. They said, that little bitch can sing. Honey, I start showing the fuck off. Okay, every Sunday, I said, shit, give me the mic. I want to sing this Sunday. I want to sing. All right? Little Richard started singing in church. He said he enjoyed church. He said the thing that he enjoyed about church is that they were so charismatic. You know, so charismatic, the way that they worshiped and praised God. And you know, fairies, they love a charismatic person. Okay? So he said, I went to church because I liked it that. And shit, I used to sing and shit. So it just worked out for me. He said one day, I felt the Spirit so good. He said the Spirit got good to my soul. So he said, I just started screaming real loud. He said, I don't know where it came from, but I just started screaming real loud. Woo! He said, I just started screaming real loud. He said, then, you know, I used to keep doing it on a regular basis. So one day the pastor came to me and he said, I can't sing in the church no more. Little Richard said, fuck that shit. He said, I left the church and I started singing somewhere else. Honey, Little Richard ended up leaving his parents' house. It was a white couple who owned a club called the TikTok Club. And Little Richard, he started performing there. He said, I performed at this club for a while, you know, getting my name out there and everything. Little Richard went through numerous amount of things before he made his way to fame. You know how it is. Before people actually get to that place that where they want to be, you know, in stardom, they go through some things. And even if you ain't famous, before you make it to that sweet place, you go through the trial and the tribulation before you see the glory. That's right. So Little Richard went through numerous amount of things before he seen his glory. And not only did he go through a lot to be rich and famous, he met a lot of people who told him what he needed. Listen to me. I want you to listen closely. He met a lot of people who told him what he needed to do to really be famous. Catch that right there. Little Richie said, his daddy was never supportive of his career. He said the only time that my daddy supported me, the only time that my daddy really supported me, he said, was when he heard his song on the radio. He said he felt some type of way about that because it took me to do all of this, you know, for you to finally see how great I really was. And now you hear me on the radio, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, you got some pride that I'm your child. Listen to that. Little Richard said one day, his daddy heard his song on the radio, and his daddy told him that he was going to buy him a car. He said, I'm happy about what you're doing, son. Shit, you're making that money now, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I want to buy you a car. But that didn't go down the way that it was expected to go down. I said that didn't happen because his father was killed. Listen to the story right here. When little Richard was 19 years old, his best friend named Frank, shot and killed his daddy. This is his best friend. He said after his best friend shot her and killed his daddy, they let him out of jail in 1 week. So he was never charged for the murder. Listen, because I'm going somewhere. I'm about to end it, but I'm going somewhere. Little Richard say they never really found out what happened that day to his daddy. They never found out why his best friend and his daddy was arguing and why his best friend killed his daddy. They never found that out. He said he still felt the pain from what his daddy did to him. Even when his daddy was gone, shot and killed. He said he still felt that pain from his childhood and how he just abandoned him. Now, some folks, they ask the question, who was little Richard's sacrifice? They say, so, Maddie, who was little Richard's sacrifice? Well, I'm going to tell you, his daddy. That's right, his daddy was his sacrifice. Little Richard's daddy died January the 12th, 1952. Y'all know how we do it over here. Okay, 1 + 1 + 2 + 1 + 9 + 5 + 2 equal what? 21. 2 + 1 equal what? 3. How old was little Richard when he sacrificed his daddy? 19 years old. 19 years old. 1 × 9 equal what? 9. Flip the 9 and you get the 6. Put it together. I said put it together. There you go. Your 3 and your 6. Right there. Y'all better overstand. I said y'all better overstand. They've been sacrificing mamas and daddies and everything else for years. We just ain't know about it. We just ain't know about it until we digged deeper into the shit and found some shit in a rabbit hole. You see what I'm saying? And what did he get? They do all this and take their blood family members up out of here. But what do they really get? I want you to answer me that. What do they really get? They gave little Richard motherfucker ass fame and fortune, and they also inducted him in the motherfucker Hall of Fame in 1986. Catch that. Little Richard almost, you know what I'm saying, almost up out of here. Little Richard almost on his way up out of here. What did he really get?